So right now, we've got a very special guest for this Christmas Day who has just published his first book, and I hope first of many. It's a children's book. It's Counting Christmas Trees, and here to tell us more about it, direct from Newton Le Willows, it's author Brian Agger. Hello, Brian.
Hello, Chris. Nice
Merry
to see you.
Christmas to you, Brian. How are you
Merry
doing?
Christmas to you. I'm very well, thank you. Thanks for inviting me on your show. And yeah, I'd love to tell you about my book. Um, the book's been 6 years in the making, and it's pretty much autobiographical. Probably 6 years ago, in Newton Willows, myself, my wife, and my daughter used to go out for, or still do, go out for meals along our high street. And we got a new hotel that opened up, and it was around this time of year that we went out for a meal with my young daughter Jasmine, and we decided to play this game on the way home, as people do, and we called it Counting Christmas Trees. So it's a game that a lot of parents play with their kids, whether you're in a car driving around, going to Blackpool, for example. Let's see how many red cars we can see. So it was just something that we came up with in the spur of the moment as we were walking home, to say, let's have a competition and see how many Christmas trees we can spot. Well, that night, it just turned into a really magical night. We walked home, and if anyone knows Newton Willows, it's a lovely place at Christmas time with the high street, and we have an area called the Thatched Cottages that all do Christmas lights for Willowbrook Hospice here in the Northwest. And that night we just walked around Newton Willows, probably for about an hour and a half, counting Christmas trees. And it turned into a bit of a magical night, and we basically walked all the way around. And that night when I got home, I've never really written a poem or a book before, but it was as we were going round, I was just, this sort of poem was coming into my mind. And so the book was originally a poem, and that night when we got home, I pretty much penned a bit of a poem. And the next day,
Wow.
I made it a little bit better. All right, thought it through some of the stops on the journey. And then Carla, my wife, that day said, that could be a children's book, that. And I thought, yeah, okay. But I've never written a children's book before, but I thought that could be something good to do. Then Christmas came and went, and you forget about these things. And then the next year we started playing Counting Christmas Trees again. And then fast forward a couple more years, Jasmine got a bit older, and we said, would you like to play Counting Christmas Trees? She went, no. And I thought, oh, well, that's that done. She's grown up a little bit
Oh
more.
no.
She's not interested. So a couple of years ago, it was like, right, that's done. And then fast forward to last Christmas, jokingly, I said, should we play, as dad joke, should we play Counting Christmas Trees? And she was the opposite. She was like, yeah, I'd love to, Dad. So the magic came back again. So we played the game, and Carla said, my wife, you're going to have to write the book now before she gets too old. So this year, for about the first 4 or 5 months of the year, with Jasmine's help, I started to take the poem that I had and convert it into this children's story, which became Counting Christmas Trees.
And it must be quite
What?
hard because obviously with a children's book, I mean, you it kind of is less words is probably what you're aiming for because how do you probably only have so many words to work with. How do you make sure you put the right words in, Brian? That must have been really difficult.
Well, I just wrote the story on if you like, on a computer on an A4 sheet type size, and I just thought I'd write the story first, and it was more for myself, I guess, than anyone. And so I wrote that out, and it's about 550 words. So you're right, it is quite a lot of words for a children's story, because when I wrote the book on a laptop, and then my wife Carla's got a shop on Newton Willows High Street, which is a gifts, sweets, balloons, all that type of shop. And this year she took a colleague on who's a lady who's and this is where the story comes together. She's an artist, and she designs some of the cards for in the shop, and that's how it came
Wow.
about. She lives in Newton Willows also, and so it all started to come together this year where written this book, and it probably took more to edit it than write it, because when you reread it, having not done anything like this before, thought, oh, that doesn't write well. And I'd get Jasmine to read it through, and she's 11 now, and she was very good at giving me some pointers. So it's not, she's really been helpful. But about probably April, May time, I said to Carla, right, I'm going to ask Rachel if she can illustrate the book. So I went in with me, printed it out, and I said, right, I've written a children's book, and I'm wondering if you'd like to illustrate it with me, because I want to publish it for this Christmas. And her face just lit up, and she said,
Oh,
I've always wanted to do something like that. So that was brilliant. So over the summer, I mean, and Rachel, she's got two young boys, 4 and 6. She works part-time, normal family life. She's self-employed, doing design work for cards and things like that. So busy like everyone else. So over the summer, between me and Rachel, between me, I gave her the ideas. She did the artwork and the clever stuff. And then over the summer, we just looked at the pictures and edited them and came up with different ideas. And then it got through to October, and we had effectively our finished article.
it must have been amazing to see, well, not only Rachel's finished drawings, but also the finished product when it arrived. I mean, that must have been amazing, Brian.
Yeah, well, I've got a copy of the book here. That's
Look at that.
the front cover. And last year, this sort of image of the tree and the church, which is St. Peter's Church in Newton Willows, is a bit iconic for Newton Willows High Street. Last Christmas, Carla's shop did a charity Christmas card with that sort of imagery on there. It went down really well. So that's why that part of the illustration ideas. But yeah, I worked with a very good self-publishing organisation, book publishers, who I sent them all the files and they put it together. And then when the draft came back like that, and with the quality of the work, it was absolutely amazing. So yeah, I was really sort of chuffed to bits really when that came through.
And obviously, you've done a book launch. I think it was at Newton Willow's library. What was that like? Reading the book and everyone there. That must have been amazing as well.
Well, I'd say more nerve-wracking than amazing. It was amazing afterwards. But yeah, so the response to the book's been fantastic. The I once we got the book, and when I got the proof and I knew that the books were en route, I really, the nerve-wracking bit for me is I'm not really an outgoing person. I'm not a public speaker, so I'm quite a sort of reserved person, I guess. And so then, beginning in November, we really had to launch the book. But the response has been phenomenal. St. Helens Library's got in touch, and the ladies at St. Helens Library said, we want to do a book launch for you, and they're reading at Newton Willows Library. And they've bought a number of copies as well to put in the libraries throughout St.
That's
Helens.
amazing. And there's a
Yeah, so
hotel that's put up a book in a frame. Tell us a little bit about this.
so again, out the blue, the Kirkfield Hotel on Newton Willows High Street, the owner of that 10 South Ward, South Hall, he just emailed me out the blue. We're regulars in there anyway. And the book, the first page of the book, the image of it is the Kirkfield Hotel. And the night starts off in the restaurant, because when Jasmine was younger, if we were ever going anywhere, she'd say, "Oh, we go in the restaurant, Daddy." So we call it the restaurant, or we used to. And it started at the Kirkfield Hotel. So Terence emailed me out the blue and said, I've got this idea. I've just renamed the lounge area of the hotel the library lounge.
Oh,
So he said, I really am a big reader, love books. I've put a lot of bookshelves in that area, and I'd love to put your book in a frame on there. And I was like, I was blown away, overwhelmed, really. So that's but that's now happened, and that's been in the local papers and so on and so forth. And but again, the response, and now the Kirkfield are now selling the book from the Kirkfield because he gets a lot of national and international visitors who come in and people, the staff notice them reading the book and they ask about it and they can buy a book now and take away with them, and it's a bit of a memory of Newtonley Willows.
that's
So yeah,
amazing.
yeah, yeah.
I suppose it's a big question, but do you have another kind of a children's story in your head, an idea to do a follow-up, or is there another genre as an author that you'd perhaps like to give a go?
Yeah, well, I think I'm not say an author, and it's very flattering, but this has
Oh
been a
no, I
bit of
think
a
you are. Hey, the proof's in the book. Absolutely, you are now.
this this has sort of given me the bug a little bit,
Yeah.
and so I already before I'd finished not I'd finished the book, but I already had an idea for a book two, and since then I've probably got the seed of an idea for a book two, book three, um, of a similar vein. But I'm and again, I've got the book, and in January I'm going to be going on a couple of writers' workshops to learn how to, to maybe learn a bit better how to write and structure a story. But yeah, the plan is in the new year, and I've started to flesh out the idea of it, is to write this second book in time for next year, maybe.
Well, we certainly hope to read that next Christmas. And I mean, like I've got three kids here, and everyone has like these books that they go back to every Christmas, and it just seems like it's one of those books that people will go back to year in, year out with the family, and that's a really nice thing, I think.
Well, I did. I take my daughter to school occasionally, and I'm in my wife's shop occasionally. But people have been stopping me all over Newtonley Willows, even on Saturday in Tesco. I'm just getting so much lovely feedback because the book features lots of areas and iconic landmarks like the church. A lot of kids are reading the book with the parents and they know the places. So the church, the high street, the town halls in it. So kids are resonating with that and know. But I'm hoping it goes beyond Newtonley Willows because although Newtonley Willows is the name of the town, it's a story that uh, could be any
Could
town
be
or any
absolute, yeah,
place.
it could be anywhere. Of course it
And
could, yeah.
the characters in the story are Mummy, Daddy, and Jasmine. But other feedback from other parents is that the daughter's saying, "Can we read it again? But can you put my name instead of Jasmine?" Which is which is brilliant. So people are making it their own sort of story, and that's been nice to hear.
I was just going to say, finally, where can people purchase the book, Brian? Because they can purchase it direct in Newton the Willows, but also online, can't they?
Yeah, my wife's shop's got a website, and it's jasminesgifts.co.uk. And if you just Google Jasmine's Gifts, counting Christmas trees, I'm sure it'll come up. And yeah, it's available to buy online for delivery in the UK.
Well, I tell you what, all the best for counting Christmas trees, and we look forward to books two and three. And have a fantastic Christmas to you, Brian, and all the family. Thank you.
Well, thank you, and Merry Christmas to everyone who's watching and listening. And yeah, see you soon with book two, hopefully.